Hey guys, welcome back to Nia's Nest. I thought it'd be cool to do a Q&A over breastfeeding. Since I'm currently breastfeeding my third child, there have been some things that I've learned to do differently and some things that are working now that didn't work last time. So I thought it would just be fun to kind of chat with you mamas out there and share with you guys how it's going for me. I took all of these questions from Twitter and I tried to choose questions that would actually be helpful to a mom or mom-to-be who's currently breastfeeding. And so I'm going to do my best to answer these, and if any of you guys out there who are more knowledgeable than me find that you have a better answer, please, in the comments below, share your advice and your wisdom because we can all learn from other moms. So question number 1 comes from Gianna Fimiani. Do you feel comfortable doing it in public? Now, I would have to say yes, I do feel very comfortable doing it in public. I didn't successfully breastfeed with my first. So with my son, I had a horrible time adjusting to breastfeeding in public. It took me about 8 to 9 months before I was finally able to go out in public and cover, or even do it uncovered if I left my cover at home or in the car, or for some freak reason he needed to nurse and I didn't have a cover with me. So yes, I definitely encourage breastfeeding in public, whether you cover or don't cover, just whatever works for you and your baby. Question number 2 comes from Jojo GM16. How do you hold your baby while you're nursing? I hold my baby in the cradle position, like this, a typical way that you hold a baby. Next question comes from Shay Inspire. What are your thoughts on the saying that once the child is walking, they shouldn't be breastfeeding? I would say, don't go with that saying. As long as you feel like the timing is good for breastfeeding your child, then go for it. If your child isn't showing signs of being ready to wean, then just continue to breastfeed as long as it's comfortable and natural for you and for your child. Ambernie Yates asks, how many hours ahead of time does your family have to start getting ready in order to be out of the house and on time now that you're nursing a newborn? I feel like with Juliet, I only need to wake up about 45 minutes earlier than normal. AmyBug99 asks, how often do you pump? For example, if Juliet is sleeping but your breasts are aching, do you pump or do you wake her up? I semi-strictly follow the saying, never wake a sleeping baby. And so I don't wake her up to feed unless it's during the day and I can see her getting antsy and her nap is almost over anyways. Then I will just get her out and kind of wake her up to nurse. But in the middle of the night, I definitely just pump. Or if I'm really heavily sleeping, I'll just sleep right through it, and when she wakes up, I'll just nurse her on both sides and make sure that, to relieve some of that discomfort. Next question comes from SAV Allen. How did you stop with Abram? I have a 2-year-old that I want to start weaning, but I don't know how to go about it. It is his comfort. Totally feel you on that one. My son Abram, even when he was 2, it was his comfort. He could not go to sleep without nursing first, whether it was nap time or bedtime, and I basically weaned him when we went on a family trip. We went out of town for a week, and while we were out of town, we were staying in a hotel, and so bedtime routine and everything was just totally off. And so he wasn't nursing before he went to sleep. So when we came home, I decided that I was just going to say, the milk went bye-bye, it's all gone, but you get a cup of juice instead. So, he was excited about that. He likes having sippy cups and he likes juice, so whatever. So I'd give him a cup of diluted juice and I would lay him in his bed and sing him a song, or 4 songs. And so when the songs were over, I would take the cup of juice away and tell him goodnight, and that was it. It was a little rough for 2 or 3 days. It wasn't horrible, he wasn't screaming and throwing fits or anything, but it was just a little hard on my heart. It was kind of heartbreaking, oh my gosh, this is really happening, he's doing okay with it. Kadish Brooke asks, do you ever worry about having enough milk, and have you had to take supplements to produce more? I think all moms worry about their milk supply, but I'm trying to learn to just go with the flow. If I feel like my milk supply has decreased a little bit, then I will just nurse her a little bit longer for that feeding in hopes that it's telling my body to make a little bit more for the next feeding. Also staying hydrated, really well hydrated. I drink a ton of water throughout the day. My goal is to drink a gallon, and I think that by the time my day is totally over and I'm going to bed, I've drank probably about 1.5 gallons. There's really no proof if what you eat really affects your milk, but eating things like oatmeal and grains and just really healthy things like that are good for your body and supposedly really good for your milk. Okay, the next few questions are going to come from I Am Janae. I like the name, by the way. And she's 32 weeks pregnant and expecting her new baby. And so she asked some really good questions that I want to answer the best of my ability. Her first question is, how should I be preparing my body for producing milk? And I would just definitely say drink a lot of water. Start challenging yourself right now to drink 1 gallon of water every day so that when the baby is here, it's just total habit and you're drinking that gallon of water like that. Next one is, I heard the other day about a bad latch also being a reason mommies stop breastfeeding. How can I ensure that my baby is latching properly? Okay, so when you have the baby, whether it's in a hospital or in your home, your midwife or your doctor or the nurses, whoever's caring for you, they're going to be able to tell you if your baby's latching correctly. And even though you've never breastfed a baby before, you will know. Like, it hurts. It kind of hurts anyways when you first start to breastfeed, but it really hurts when they're not latched properly. Like, you can just feel something is not right, and you just move them. But then also, if the baby is having a hard time latching, just not giving up. It can be so frustrating and overwhelming. I mean, I feel like Juliet really latched on like a pro her first day, but then the second day she had a really hard time latching on 2 of the feedings. Just 2, that's it. And by the second one, I was so frustrated. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to give her formula. She's gonna have to have bottles. I'm a failure. I'm a horrible mom. What am I doing wrong? Why isn't this working? And I just tried really hard to just turn off those thoughts and to calm down, take in a deep breath, and just keep trying. I just kept trying to latch on this side, and when it wouldn't work, I would try to latch on this side. And then I would soothe her and rock her, and then try to latch on this side, and then try to latch on that side. It was very time consuming. It can be very frustrating and emotional, but my advice is just to not give up when it comes to having a good or a bad latch. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Okay, her next question is, how long can I store the milk for after I pump it? I'm going back to work after 3 months and I'll need to pump. So what I've learned is that you can freeze breast milk for 6 months. You can leave it unfrozen for 6 to 8 days in the refrigerator, and you can leave it out of the refrigerator for 6 to 8 hours. So you've got plenty of windows there. You can pump your milk in the middle of the night or at work and kind of leave it sitting around for 6 to 8 hours. Take it home and refrigerate it. If you don't have a chance to pack it up however you want and put it in the freezer, you have a 6 to 8 day window, and then you put it into the freezer, which it can store there for up to 6 months. Jordan Taylor 22 asks, is it true about breastfeeding helping you lose baby weight? And I would say yes. In my case, it has contributed to losing the baby weight. And from all of the other moms I've ever talked to, they definitely say the same thing. I've never heard a bad experience or like, well, that didn't happen for me. So yes, from what I understand and what I've read, it's definitely plays a big part in losing your baby weight. This question comes from a friend of mine. Her name is Melissa. She said, do you time your feedings like the nurses at the hospital tell you, or do you let Juliet feed on demand? So I kind of do half and half. When the baby is first born and they tell you to do 20 minutes on this side and 20 minutes on that side, I definitely stick with that because that helps your milk production come in. But then once you get home and things are kind of in your own routine, your milk has all the way come in, I do my feedings on demand, but I still time them. So when she's ready to feed, I will still time it 10 to 20 minutes on each side, or depending on what time of the day, what we have going on, I'll do 10 to 20 minutes on one side, depending, how full I am and all of that. But so basically I kind of just take a mix of feeding on demand and doing the time schedule thing, and I just kind of make it work for us. Okay, this next question is a toughie. It comes from Julie Faka. I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. She said, my 5-month-old comfort nurses all night. All is in capital letters. My husband can't get her to sleep because she thinks she needs my breast. I've tried the cry it out for 5 minutes method and pacifiers, but she literally doesn't stop without me. It's 5 to 7 times throughout the night. Do you have any advice? I am one exhausted mommy. Okay, so her son is 5 months old, and I can tell you that is like exactly where I was at with Abram. He was feeding all throughout the night. Sometimes he would come into my bed and it would just be back and forth all night long, like open bar type of thing. Eventually I did a ton of research and I combined a few different sleep training methods to what works best for our family, and I just sleep trained him. It took a while, it was heartbreaking, it was hard, it was exhausting, but he did eventually catch on and start sleeping through the night. So without getting into the specifics of how we sleep trained here in our home, I would say research sleep training, research all the sleep training methods, and decide, pick and choose which ones work best for your family and stay consistent with it. You cannot do it for one night and then be tired the next night and give up and put the baby back in your bed. It has to be something that you are absolutely 100% dedicated to, or the baby will not catch on. And the last question of the night comes from Oksana Neeson, and she asks, what are your must-have/favorite nursing items? Okay, so I actually do have a list of things that I have to have while I'm breastfeeding a baby. Okay, so item number 1 is clothing that is easily accessible. I definitely did not want to be pulling out my shirt and pulling down my undershirt or my nursing bra and then trying to latch a baby on. My entire wardrobe right now for the summer is things that are easily accessible. Like I can tug on my dress and my undershirt or my nursing bra, whatever, and just, basically whip it out and feed the baby. Sorry if that's TMI. A nursing cover with an adjustable strap and piping around the neckline. I'll put a picture right here of me wearing one. But basically, the piping is so that you can look down and see the baby. Also, the baby can breathe. And then having this easily adjustable strap over here just makes it really easy to get on and off. You can fix it right where you need it, but then also if you're wearing bulkier clothing or as the baby grows, you can adjust it so that it's, you know, a good fit for you and baby while the baby's nursing. As I've already said earlier, drinking water is so important to your milk supply. So one thing I have to have is ice on hands at all times for my ice water and lemon essential oil. So I'll do 1 drop of lemon essential oil, fill the cup up with ice, and then fill it up with water, and then I'll just chug it down and fill it up one more time, and then that'll kind of last me for the next hour or so, and then repeat all throughout the day. Last thing on my list, and this is especially for when the baby is very fresh, you're still in the hospital, first couple of weeks when you get home and it's kind of hard to move around, snacks. I cannot tell you how much more enjoyable waking up in the middle of the night is when you have a snack at your bedside table. Especially, you know, if you're in pain or on pain medication and it's hard to stay awake, which is the case for me because I've had C-sections. Just having something next to me that I can, you know, unwrap and eat, snack on while I'm feeding the baby, it's just makes everything so much better. I know it sounds so silly, but as women, we like to eat. I know I do. I had an entire pouch for my hospital bag full of just snacks that I knew I would want in the hospital. And then when we came home, I cleared off my bedside table and I just lined up my snacks for the middle of the night. Now, Juliet is going to be 6 weeks old soon, so that has kind of toned down a little bit, but there are still some nights where I'm like, oh, I can tell this is going to be a long night. Let me get the Pop-Tarts out. And I would say that in this case, with the midnight feedings, don't worry about your diets. Seriously, we have so much to worry about as moms, taking care of our home, our husbands, our other children if we have them. And yes, while it is important to keep up with your figure and to feed your body healthy things, a midnight snack in the middle of the night is not going to hurt you that bad. And in my case, I was very fearful of postpartum depression this time around. I had it last time, and I was just like, whatever, I'm going to have whatever snack I want. I don't care how unhealthy it is. So anyways, that is my list of must-haves for breastfeeding mama, and I hope that the answers to your questions are helpful and encouraging and uplifting. That is certainly always my goal here at Mia's Nest. And you know, like I said earlier, if any of you moms have any good advice or better answers to the questions that I gave, please comment below and just let us all reap from your wisdom, because even though this is my 3rd child, I still have a ton of stuff to learn, and I love learning things from other moms who have been successful at this or that, or they found that, you know, A, B, C, or D works better for them. I just like hearing those things and even trying them out for our family at times. So yeah, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!